So people are thinking like, we have to worry about our own. We don't have to worry about these children. We have to worry about our own children. But it's not true. And they're all the same. That's what Pam said all the time. And so, yes, it's challenging times, but you have to share whatever you can with your own children for sure, but also those children that we want. The Rebbeinu Shalom is waiting for us to bring back so we can bring the Gula. He's waiting for that. And our Pam always said, bring me my children, and I'll show you what a great father I could be.
Baruchim Abayim, and welcome to Torah Talks Chazaq's Tuesday night program with special guests. We have with us our very dear friend Rabbi Biderman. Baruch haba, welcome. How are you?
Baruch Hashem,
Baruch Hashem, Chaz Hashem, thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to be discussing No Child Shall Be Left Behind. Our baby is one that does so much, and we're going to ask you first a little bit of background about yourself and the great work you're involved with.
Okay. So I learned in Torah. I grew up actually in Queens, right around here.
Yes,
excuse me. And then I went to Torah, and when I was in the 11th grade, Rav Pam was my Rebbe, and that was in 1964.
Before Rav Pam was the Rosh Hashiva.
Before he was the Rosh Hashiva.
Right.
And I remained very close to him until literally his dying day, Baruch Hashem. For 37 years, I had tremendous schus to have a tremendous kesher with him. And I had a profound, wonderful influence on me and my family, Baruch Hashem. And then I spent many years in the government in New York. I was both the finance commissioner and then the housing commissioner when Ed Koch was the mayor. And when there were a lot of issues that came up, I would also always turn to Rav Pam to give me the guidance on what to do and what not to do and how to treat different situations. And his guiding influence was avoid Chil Hashem at all costs.
Wow. 100% very important. Yes. So you took you very seriously. You made for yourself a rabbi. You got yourself out of all doubts. You had your Rebbe to ask at all times.
All the time. And the last 10 years of his life, I was lucky to be on the side when he started Shuvu and watched him build that from a dream, really a dream. Later, it's called Chazayin Avram. Was the
vision.
Nobody thought that it could be, but he made it happen and watched it grow. And today we have a Moisa with 6,000 children all over Eretz Yisrael.
Unbelievable.
All of them from secular backgrounds, none of them from birth. And all of them becoming frumer, and some of them becoming mamish Gedoyle Torah and Koilinger Light and everything else and everything in the middle. But everyone better off, everyone improved, and it's really his vision that made it happen. And he was involved the last 10 years of his life. He really focused on that every single day. Believe Guzman, he would call people, he would have parlor meetings, he would invite people to come to his house one-on-one, and he was... Every week we'd get a report on what happened this week and stories and schools and everything, and just a constant inspiration and a constant motivation for me and all the people that were involved at that time.
100%. I had the merit. I was invited to be on a Shuvu mission to Israel. And the line that they used all the time was "Ein doimish milir." You can't comparing hearing and seeing, and it's so true. I got to see all the yeshivot, all the different schools, all the different areas, all the different children. It was such a chizuk, such an inspiration to see these children, unfortunately, that didn't know much, and to get a Jewish education. It's so inspiring, and I'm so excited about it because this is what we do in America at Chazaq, where we, Baruch Hashem, try to place kids from public schools into yeshivot. And Yasher Koach for your involvement with this holy work. And shout out to our dear friend from Queens as well, who's your co-chairman in this holy work.
Absolutely. Right now, my partner in everything we do is Yossi Hack. We've been partners now for maybe 20 years, and we consult with each other every day and provide chizuk to each other, which is needed, and he also provides very substantial resources to keep the place going, even when other people have gotten, let's say, focused on other good causes.
Yes.
Yossi's always there, focused mostly, not only, but mostly on Shuvu.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, Chaz Hashem. So the topic of no child shall be left behind. So many people I discuss this topic with, and I tell them to get involved. There's a famous quote that I always get: "Let me take care of my own children. Let me take care of them. Let me focus on their chinuch, and then I'll take care of the others out there." what is your approach?
Tom always said, if you take care of Rebbeinu Shalom's children, he'll take care of your children.
It's the other way around.
And he said, you have to, to Rebbeinu Shalom, there's no difference between your children and other children. They're all Rebbeinu Shalom's children. And Rapam said, people used to come with him with very darkistic shilas, very, very questions about the children, and really nothing to do with halacha, just to be a little nicer, a little better. And he would say, and what about all the children that don't have children at all? What are you thinking about them? What are you doing about them? So, today, Baruch Hashem, the Frum Olam is growing dramatically and continues to grow. That the majority of Jews, both here and in Eretz Yisrael, unfortunately, are not from. And
they have no connection to Judaism. We see it all the time. It's scary.
None at all. And I mentioned a story to you privately that we gave out, for Sukkot, we give out lulavim and esrogim to the children, not the babies. And one mother came in with her little girl, and she wanted to know what to do and to make a bracha. She made the bracha with the teacher. And then she asked the teacher, so I eat it now? And this is a lady that was born in Eretz Yisrael, who must have been in her 40s. And so
she had no clue.
We don't have, if they were born in a secular environment, they really know almost nothing. And that's true here, of course, as well. And so we can't be oblivious to what the Rebbeinu Shalom's children are. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is always, Rapam has always said, the Rebbeinu Shalom is waiting for his children to come back, and then he'll bring us what we need for ourselves as well.
Wow. So you're saying just the opposite. Get involved with Hashem's children, with the other children, and automatically it will be a direct effect, a positive effect on your own children.
And your children will notice it. Your children will notice that you care about Klal Yisrael, that you care about Eretz Yisrael, and you care about the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that impacts them more than giving them musar or,
Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
And I see with my kids, Baruch Hashem, they see my involvement with the Klal, with the community, and it definitely has an effect on them.
Yeah.
So chinuch is in everyone's mind, how to take care of children and how to raise them right. And you had, Baruch Hashem, a very close kesher with the Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal Rav Avram Palm from Torah V'das. Any lessons that you remember that the Rosh Yeshiva would give over?
Always to do it with b'noyam. Always b'noyam.
Do it
I remember
gently.
we were when I had him the first time. I was 16-year-old, and we were young, active boys. And there was one boy in the class who was particularly active. You wouldn't tell that today when you see him, but he was
full of energy.
Full of energy. Yeah. Maybe you can call me even a little troublemaker.
Okay.
And then came Parents' Teachers' Day. And we were all nervous as to what Rapam would tell our parents. And his parents happened to be first, his boys. And we were listening behind the wall, and Rapam praised this kid to the sky. You'd think it was the Chafetz Chaim. And then we had a sigh of relief. Baruch Hashem, we knew we were safe. And so that's the way he treated us. He never scolded, always encouraged and loved. Rak ba'ahava, and that's the motto we use in his Rapam used, and that's the motto we use in Shuvu as well. Only with love will you get people closer.
That is our attitude as well at Chazaq. In Hebrew we say chinuch im chiyuch, being mechanech, educating our children with a smile, with positivity. Always.
And that's what we do as well, and that's what you have to do, especially in the world we live in today.
In today's day of age, this generation, they need that extra love and that warmth and that ahava. And I didn't have the zchut, the merit to meet Rav Pam Zatzal. At least I don't think so. But I was definitely young if that was the case. And but the pictures and the stories that you hear. And with Ernest, he wasn't so tall.
No, very small.
But height-wise, but it was huge and godless.
No, he was a wonderful, warm, wonderful person. And everybody came into his house, into his environment, felt it. And they still feel it, and even though it's over 20 years later.
It's something that I feel like is so powerful in the sense that you have a gadol that have passed away, and you have many gadolis, so many Torah giants that have passed away. But with regards to Rav Pam, the legacy that he left through Shuvu, and I see it all the time, whether it's the dinners that I go to or the events or whatever it is, that emblem of Shuvu, of Rav Pam, it's one in the same.
And he left the legacy he left for all his Talmidim in Torah V'das, that you have to be a mensch. You have to treat people properly. You have to be honest in business. You have to do everything by Hava. And you can tell it in all his Talmidim, all of them.
Yep. I know many of them, and we see that 100%. So no child left behind. A practical way for one to make sure or to get involved.
Well, there are many wonderful moishas that deal with these children. Obviously, you can do it one-on-one if you have a neighbor where it's not easy to do that, and it doesn't always work. If you deal with professionals in Kiev, whether it's Chazaq in America or Shuvu in Eretz Yisrael, and you connect to them either by helping them financially, which is very, very important.
Very important. Or
getting involved with some of their specific projects or in specific places, specific schools. Then you could really influence people. I mean, and there is a pintel yid in everybody, and we see a lot of it now after October 7th. People who had no shakas. I mean, there was I read in one of the articles there was this person who went to a demonstration in Bnei Brak, and he took a bunch of big shkolim with him, and there were a bunch of yeshiva boys on the other side of the fence, and he threw the shkolim at the boys, and he figured they would run and grab them, and that was his, and they ignored it totally, and he became so humiliated that he realized he didn't understand these people at all, and now he's become about tshuva.
Wow.
And you have that time, and again, we see it in tshuva. We have a tremendous registration demand, well over 1,000 new children that want to come into tshuva this year. We just need the money to bring them in, and some of them would never have even considered a shuvah school before, but they see that the Biderman runs the world, and they need so they need that chizuk, and they see what they thought was infallible is not, and they realize that they have to turn to Hashem to help them, and that's what's happening throughout the country, especially in the south where they were most hit. But we're seeing it in the north. We have schools in Bnei Brak, and all the way down to Beersheba, and all the way north to Akko. And all over the country, people are saying, we're missing something.
Yes.
They didn't necessarily know Shema Yisrael, and they want to know. There's a thirst, and I believe it's here as well. The thirst,
100%.
Based after October 7th, there's a thirst to get closer to Hashem and to beg for Him, beg to help us when we're really in not a very easy time.
People are thirsty for the truth.
Yeah.
They're thirsty for Torah, and we see it constantly. 100%. There's people lacking, and here we are. We're looking to provide to these people, to give them opportunities to get involved. And that's actually how our family became from. Meaning, my parents were traditional. But my older brothers went to a yeshiva, and they brought Torah home. Abba, Shabbat, Ima, Kashrut, Tzniut, Bet Knesset, all this stuff. And parents were traditional. They weren't against. And Baruch Hashem, little by little, everything started picking up. And that's how
we have that in all our schools all the time. In every school, we see that. And we see that the children come home, and then the parents say that we want to know, especially now when in a Seder, we have model Seders. A lot of the people don't even know what a Seder is. And all of a sudden, they come home, they want to have a real Seder, and they ask if we get matzah and wine, and very often the little child, who might be 10, 11 years old, is leading the Seder because the parents don't know how to, but they want it.
Wow, 100%. I'd like to add to a practical tip that's really, really, really practical. Everybody listening and everybody that we know, they have family members, friends, neighbors, coworkers that have family members in public schools. And all you have to do, and I've seen this work many, many times over here in America through Chazaq, and this could easily work in Eretz Yisrael and Israel for all those that have family members over there. You notify them that there's organizations that exist that work hand in hand with you to place kids to yeshiva. You'll be shocked how they'll be open to it. I'll tell you a story over here. We have the Yeshiva Placement Division, and we have everything very organized and documented, the most amazing staff, amazing rebbeim. And long story short, a certain mother that we called, and she said, "Don't call me again," or she hung up the phone. Sorry, she hung up the phone. That was so. Our system is to follow up every so often. So let's say 6 months later, they call again, and no, not interested. But we followed up 6 months later, and then you know what happened? Oh, something happened in the family. There's an interest, and about 6 months later, they're in the yeshiva. Never to give up hope. No child shall be left behind.
No.
Every single Jewish child deserves a Jewish education. all we have to do is reach out.
And by the way, many of these children are the children and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren of the Daily
Yes,
Olam.
huge rabbis. Yes, I hear it all the time.
We had one person who works for Shuvu now. He's already married and everything, but he said when he was growing up, they told him there was a big rabbi in the background. He didn't know anything about it. And now we got from him, he's a Ben Echad Ben from Yitzchak Chon Spector.
Wow.
And we have a great-grandmother who came into school after Rosh Hashanah last year, and she saw the Simonim that she had not seen, she said, since 100, 70, 80, 90 years ago. She was a very old lady. And she's the great-granddaughter of the Radomsker Rebbe.
Wow.
And so these Gedolim, I remember Rabbi Yamin Kamenetsky told me,
who had a kesher with, by the way.
Yeah, a wonderful person.
From 5 times.
And he said, 2 people will thank you. The grandchildren of these children and the great-grandparents of these children.
That's right.
Those are the people who thank you because they see, up there in Shemayim, they're begging somebody to go bring their children back. And you're doing it and we're doing it.
Baruch Hashem, Chaz Hashem. And I have cases of people telling me, don't look at me the way I am. You know who my great-great-grandfather was? And they start telling me it was this. I'm like, okay, your great-grandfather's in a great place right now, but how about you? And they're like, oh, they thought that we're going to be impressed. Yes, it's impressive to have the yichus, the lineage, but we have to continue it. We have to go on the right path.
Of course.
So it's very, very important. So we have a minhag, we have a customer, baby. A final message for our broad audience.
Well, it's a challenging financial time now, and there's a lot of needs within our communities, all our communities, and so people are thinking like, we have to worry about our own. We don't have to worry about these children. We have to worry about our own children. But it's not true. And they're all the same. That's what Pam said all the time. And so, yes, it's challenging times, but you have to share whatever you can with your own children for sure, but also those children that we want. The Rebbe was waiting for us to bring back so we can bring the Gula. He's waiting for that. And Pam always said, bring me my children, and I'll show you what a great father I could be. Bring me back my children. And so, yes, the time is challenging, the needs are great, and but we have to do both.
100%, very, very powerful message. And this is music to our ears, our baby, because this is what we do. And it's important for everyone to get involved. Family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, whoever it may be, reach out. Let say that you're interested. No child shall left behind. Every single Jewish child deserves a Jewish education. You'll see the fruits of your labor. It's such a simcha when you see many years ago you helped a certain family or a certain child, and then they grow up and they have families and children. It's just the biggest nachas in the world, and I've seen it in Eretz Yisrael when I was there. I see it over here all the time, Baruch Hashem, and we want you to enjoy that as well. So please get involved. And don't let it go in one ear and out the other ear, but get involved as at Hashem. And we should only hear B'sarot Tova. I want to thank you for all that you do, baby.
Thank you, all you do.
Yag the Torah v'yadir. We should only hear B'sarot Tova, only good news. And we want to thank everyone. Chazaq's Tuesday to our talks with special guests, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chazaq.org/live. chazaq.org/live. Special thank you to our friends at Torah Anytime and all the other podcast players and platforms that host our amazing Torah talks that we have. Suggestions for future guests and dedications are always available. Reach out to us at info@chazaq.org and info@chazaq.org. Special thanks to our friends at Daily Giving. A dollar a day goes a very, very far way. We're very appreciative of that as well. And to the most amazing staff and team in the world, Natan Behar behind the camera, thank you very much. And all the staff members and board members and volunteers and donors, we're forever grateful. And we should only hear B'sarot Tova, only good news. We should be zocheh. We should merit to see the Geulah Shlema, the complete redemption should come b'merav meinu spin our days. Very, very nice.